Next is the fast attack. Fast attack has some interesting things in it that it is the least used section of a Tyranid army. You oftentimes won't see these guys that are fast attack, but there's some good stuff in here. Tyranid Strike. Tyranid Strikes is pretty much identical to a Tyranid Warrior, it's just they have wings. So they're jump infantry, which can be nice. That can be pretty crazy. They do have a worse save. They have a 5-up save. But then again, these are jump pack guys that have synapse creature rule, and they can be kitted out with as much what's the word I'm looking for? Like you can kit them out however way you want. Close combat, shooting, I mean anything. These guys have it all. I haven't used them, but I've seen them being used, and so I can't say they're bad. They do suffer from the same problem that warriors do, that they're toughness 4, and there's plenty of stuff that will insta kill them. And those 3 wounds that you're paying for, there's the 35 points a model these Tyranid Strikes, and it just hurts when those go away so easily. Next is a Ravener Brood. These guys are pretty sick. They have a very similar stat line to the warrior, but these guys are beasts, and so they're going to be going across the field very quickly. You can give them rending claws, and they have scything talons, and that's just horrifying to behold. They're rending on 6s and then re-rolling their 1s, and these guys can't take poison, unfortunately. They're one of the few options in this book that actually can't, which is really unfortunate. A Ravener Brood with poison would be awesome, but alas, they can't take poison. That is just not an option. They can be given shooting things, but again, with what you want them to do, maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. You be the judge of that. They also have Deep Strike. I want to Deep Strike these guys. Well, maybe. Depends on your strategy of your army, but you would have to be very careful because they're fragile. They're toughness 4, 5-up save, and these guys will be a target whenever they pop up. And then that is one turn that you'll miss that they can't assault, because you want them in assault. That's where you want them. But again, best case scenario, they arrive turn 2, and then they can't assault turn 3. So there's that. They have instinctive behavior. They feed, which is nice. So that means that you can control where they go, and they get that 2 extra attacks. They have 4 attack space. I should mention that. Yeah. And you can have up to 9 Raveners in a group. And if they're raging and they have a 2-up on their charge, they have 6 attacks each. Yeah. They'll kill things in the assault. They're fragile outside, so be warned about that. Sky Slasher Swarm. These guys are the Ripper Swarms with wings. Same problem. And they're more expensive. Just no. That's all I'll say about them. Gargoyles. I like gargoyles. They are termagants with wings, pretty much. They're 6 points a model. And you can give them poison for 1 point a model. And what's really good about them is that you can just bring so many. And they're jump infantry, so they have the Hammer of Wrath rule, and they can just jump on anybody. And this huge, gigantic group has all these hits at initiative 10 because of Hammer of Wrath. I like these guys. I think it can be quite useful because of how cheap they are. The cheapness helps, and they also have the Flesh Borer, which is shooting, and that's pretty awesome. And they lurk. They have a special lurk. So one thing you'll have to take into account with gargoyles is how are you going to keep the synapse with them, because you need to have synapse with these guys. All of a sudden you'll lose control of them, and what you want them to do, they won't do. Next is the Harpy. This is our other Flying Monsters creature, but this guy does not stack up to that Flying Hive Tyrant in any way, shape, or form. His stat line's worse. In his weapons, he has the blast, and he has twin link blasts, which is cool, but he's anti-infantry. It's pretty much all he is, what his blasts do. And if there's one thing that the Tyranid army is not lacking, is a way to deal with infantry. So you don't need the Harpy. Some other unit's going to take care of infantry for him and do it much better and a much better points cost, and be able to do other things just as well, because that's all the Harpy can do, is shoot infantry. He can have the heavy venom cannon, which is strength 9, so he can shoot at vehicles, but Zoanthropes, better at shooting at vehicles. So yeah, that's all I'll say about him. Yeah. Last entry is Spore Mine Cluster. This entry is literally, I think, they just had no idea what else to put in fast attack, so they just gave these as an option. Spore mines are the little mushroom floating things, and they explode with a strength 4 blast. But again, anti-infantry at that point, and they actually have a stat line of 1 everywhere. They have no save, no weapon skill, no ballistic skill, tough, strength 1, you know, everything's 1. And if they get near an opponent, they'll blow up. But why would you pay for that? There's a unit in heavy support that generates them for free. Yeah, if you need something in fast attack, don't go for spore mines. Because what they do is that they deploy first turn, and you deploy them either before or after your opponent deploys. I think it might be after. Here we go. Yeah, after your opponent deploys, then you can deploy your Spore Mine clusters on using deep striking. Yeah. And so you can't even, like, if you would deploy them before, that'd be nice, because then you would kind of force them into these areas where, because if they deployed around him within 3 inches, then they explode and cause damage. And your opponent wouldn't want that, but since it's after, then you're deploying them around your opponent's army. And that can be limiting, but what they'll do is, I mean, no. That, and with deep striking, then you have a chance of not getting them exactly where you need them to be, and then they can become totally useless. Because after that, then they just kind of float wherever. They use the scatter dice to move, and yeah, no, don't bring spores. Last section, heavy support. Some of the coolest units in here, and some of the just make you want to cry. And this first one's the one that makes you want to cry, the Carnifex. This thing used to be the bread and butter of the Tyranid army in previous dexes that I hear. I've only played with this dex, but from what I heard, Carnifex used to be the bee's knees. You would just bring those things. But they're 160 points now. They're really expensive. And they are strength 9, which is ridiculous. And you can upgrade them with quite a bit. You can make them shooty. You can give them the Twin Link Devours and make them a really shooting unit. And you can have up to 3 of these things, by the way, in a group. A unit of monstrous creatures, which I don't think anybody else has, which is pretty sweet, but again, it's really expensive, and the options that you want to give them just add to the expense. And all Carnifexes in the brood must be identical, and so that just makes them even more expensive. They're good. There's just better options in the heavy support. The Trigon, we'll get to that. And then this guy, oh, by the way, Carnifex feed. They have instinctive behavior feed, which is nice. The next guy is Old One Eye. 260 points. This is our second most expensive base model in the army. You can't give him any upgrades, but, excuse me, what he is, he's a purely assaulting guy. He has 0 shooting ability, but once he gets into an assault, he kills. He will kill everything, because he's at strength 10, and for every hit he does extra hits. I mean, it just adds. What he does is, he just can have insane amount of attacks. I think he can have up to 10, if not more, attacks, which is ridiculous. He has instinctive behavior feed. He is fearless. So, yeah, that's pretty nice. Because you're just getting that bonus, and you're not getting hurt for it. Carnifexes are also fearless. I just noticed that. So you're just getting that rage bonus, and you still don't care. That's pretty nice. That's where actually forcing instinctive behavior is really nice. He does have leadership 8, so he might fail. He might actually pass that instinctive behavior test, excuse me. So who knows? But this guy suffers from a similar thing with the Swarm Lord, that he is an assaulting guy in a very shooty meta. He will get shot to death before, most likely, before he gets to assault, because you can't give him a drop pod. You can't give him closer than he already is. So he's having to walk, and he's really slow. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And he's so much expensive. I mean, there's other options that are better. The next one's the Biovore. Biovore's cool. 45 points a model, and they lurk. But they're the ones that shoot the spore mines, and they are our only long-range artillery. They have a 48-inch range, which is awesome. I take that back. They're not our only long-range shooter. There is one more, but he's not as good. Biovores, though, are anti-infantry, which is what hurts them. They're really good at what they do. But, I mean, you kind of tailor your list around them instead of the other way around. It's like, okay, I'm going to bring Biovores. How am I going to tailor the rest of my list to kind of do other things while my Biovores take care of the infantry? Because they'll take care of infantry very effectively. And then what's really cool about them is, because they blast, they do a barrage. And if they miss, then it's not that nothing happens. You actually create a spore mine unit right there where the center hole is of the large blast, which can be useful. I mean, it's better than nothing happening. In all of armies, when you miss, nothing happens. But with Biovores, they actually do something when they miss, which is really cool. They're good. The other options might be better, and they also are just anti-infantry, and you might already have that covered. The next one's the Trigon. This one's the one that people bring all the time. He's really awesome. He's 200 points. He's expensive, but he does a lot for what he does, for how much he is. He has instinctive behavior feed, but he's also fearless, which is awesome. He can deep strike, and he has fleet. And he also has a shooting attack. Just strength 5, maybe 5, assault 6, which is nice. He's at strength 6. He's got 6 wounds. This guy's hard to kill. But what I really love to do is to make him a Trigon Prime. That's 40 points extra, but then he becomes a Synapse creature. And like I said at the beginning of this video, or at the beginning of this series, I don't know if this will be in parts or what, but Synapse is good to have. And then with the Trigon Prime, he actually gets additional shooting attacks, which is awesome. You can give this guy poison. I give him poison, because then at strength 6, he's re-rolling most of the time. I think toughness 6 is as high as it goes. I don't know. I'm probably totally wrong about that. But more often than not, he's re-rolling, which is awesome, because he's most likely wounding on 2s or 3s, and then re-rolling those fails. Awesome. Love it. Trigon's really good. Next is the Moloch. Oh, this unit is so cool, but it's just not good. It's 170 points. You can give him poison, but this guy, he actually has a worse weapon skill than the Trigon, but all the other stats are similar. Mostly the same. He has fewer attacks. But what this guy does is he can burrow, go into reserves when he burrows. He burrows under the battlefield. So that shows what he's doing. And he can pop up, and there's a large blast that he does wherever, like, he can pop up on top of a unit and cause damage. And then everyone else moves around him. Like, that's just what he does. He burrows down and he pops up and kills things. Most effective use of this guy is to actually deploy him on the field first turn, and you just have him burrow first turn. That way he's guaranteed to come turn 2. Because his one and only use is that large blast when he pops up. He does not do well in assault. And in fact, he has hit and run, so you're supposed to run away from an assault. But that means, if you want to follow me, Turn 1, he's on the field, he burrows. Turn 2, he pops up, he does damage. Turn 3, if he's not an assault, he burrows, goes in reserve. Turn 4, he pops up, does damage. Turn 5, he burrows. And then if turn 6 happens, then he pops up. Or if turn 6 doesn't happen, then he's considered destroyed. There's two bad things with that. One,